Hello, my name is Jim Ehleringer, and on behalf of Phoebe McNealy and others at the Digital Lab at the University of Utah, I want to give you a brief introduction to the environmental dashboard which we are creating for the Central Wasatch Commission. This environmental dashboard is a living document. It first started with Mount McCord as a text document. At that point, it transitioned to the Central Wasatch Commission, which approached us with a desire to build out a website-based dashboard. That dashboard was to provide information, not political, but information that could be used to inform decisions and to educate the public from gray to K to gray. So who is the audience that we're aiming for at this dashboard? It is the public. It is everyone from kindergarten through education, through hikers, through people that want to know more information, and ultimately into experts. It's a document that consists of tables and figures and maps and images, things that you can scroll in on. A dashboard that will work on your iPhone as easily as it will work on your desktop computer. This dashboard is built around 5 elements here that were decided upon by a group of experts. So we are implementing the desire of the experts. The first element is on air quality and climate. The second is geology and soils. The third is vegetation communities. The fourth is water. And last is wildlife. At this stage here, you can explore any of these options to find out more about the dashboard. And we're going to explore 2 of these. Let's explore vegetation communities, a topic very near and dear to my heart. When you land on this page here, you'll notice that we have a series of tabs. What are the zones within the Wasatch Front? How about a map of all the vegetation? And the 4 major categories: shrublands, forests, alpine, and riparian zones. And then lastly, a topic of interest called disturbance. Here you see the major plant species that you will identify as you move up the mountain. And if you go over the Alpine tab, you'll notice that it begins to give you a little introduction as to what's going on. You can learn more by simply going to one of the tabs. In this case, let's visit the Forest tab. And here what you see is the forest vegetation that we find across the Wasatch. It's now delineated as forest. You don't know which species are there. But as you zoom in, you will see that this map begins to change. And as it begins to change, you can now see that we're looking at different kinds of species: Douglas fir, aspen, juniper, white fir, Engelmann spruce, and so forth. So you have a chance to move around and explore what the vegetation looks like on 30 by 30 meter parcels. You can explore this for a variety of sites, or you can come over and explore disturbance. So the public is often interested in what's happening to our forests. Well, we have a number of disturbances: insect damage, invasive species, and things that people might not realize: timber harvesting. Because a century ago, our forests were decimated. And by the end of the 1800s, a large number of really big trees had already been harvested. The harvesting was even more extensive when there were mining activities, such as we see here in Alta. Grazing added to that, and all of this resulted in a denuded forest that was undergoing extensive alteration. By 1910, the Forest Service had set up a reforestation program. That reforestation program was a large farm that was created in which lots of plants were put in. Those plants were grown to seedling size and then transplanted out across the landscape. So the beautiful landscape that we see today is the result of both a denuding and a reforestation by the Forest Service. This activity took place in a location called the Spruces. So all that remains now are a few remnant trees, but we enjoy today a beautiful forest that we think is pristine, but is actually one that has been restored. And we'll explore one other dashboard, and this is one that now gives you an activity where you can learn about variations in climate and in how particulate matter and emissions have changed in the valley. The landing page gives you 3 images associated with the Wasatch Front and an air quality measure at each of those locations. We can jump into the air quality tag and begin to learn a little bit of background, something about the data that are available for greenhouse gases, for PM2.5, those things that give us asthma, make it hard to believe, and vehicle emissions. So if we begin to explore vehicle emissions, we take our data from UDOT for the Cottonwood Canyons, and we can begin to see a dashboard that allows us to look at different years, but tells us something on a month-by-month basis. How has vehicular travel changed? And what are the average numbers of vehicles in 2 years? I've here clicked on 1993 and on the year 2020. But we can take 2 other years, let's take 2020 and 2003, and not explore Parley's Canyon, but let's explore the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon. And now the data begin to show some very important and interesting trends. Of course, we know that on a month-by-month basis, there has been an increase in traffic flow. But what you might not realize is that not all of the traffic is in the winter months, but there is extensive input during the summer months, and in fact, you can even see the extensive input of traffic during the Oktoberfest. So there's a lot of information which is provided in these details here when we look at the UDOT data associated with these different sites and across different years. There's a lot to explore in this dashboard, and we're hoping that you'll take the time and be able to have the time to explore and learn more about the geology, the water, the wildlife, and so forth. On behalf of Phoebe McNealy, who has led this effort, she's the director of the Digital Lab, thank you very much for your time and attention.